Hi and welcome to TorontoTv. This is your host Maggie Ng for Creative Inspirations. So today we're going to talk about something we all love, which is money. So talking about finance and being financially successful, I think there's also a lot of personal development that has to be done. So here to talk to us about both finance and personal development is my special guest, David Wu. Hi, David. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Very good. Nice to meet you, Maggie.
Thanks for being on my show. So why don't you kind of introduce yourself and talk about what you do?
Sure, Maggie. My name is David Wu. I'm actually a financial advisor. I have my own business, helping people basically teach them how money works, Maggie. Helping them learn some of the financial concepts that normally you don't learn on TV or from banks. And by doing that, why do I do that is because I have a passion for helping people succeed, and not just the financial area, but also tying in with personal development as well, Maggie. Yeah. A lot of people that I've talked to have an interest in basically they're starting a new career, fresh from school, and they want to find out how do they invest their money, what do they do with their money to make it grow. Another aspect, some people I talk to, they simply don't know what direction their life is heading. They have difficulty setting goals and not sure what kind of direction they have. And I've actually gone through all those stages, so the reason why I'm involved is hopefully to help people understand a little bit of how money works, but also help them identify what some of their goals are and how to achieve those goals.
Great. So are you formally trained within personal development or within the finance industry?
Well, in the financial industry, I am trained in that. I went to the Schuler School of Business. I did an undergraduate at York University. As well, I went on to do my Certified Management Accounting designation. And then subsequently, I did a mutual fund license and my insurance license as well. In terms of personal development, I don't have any formal education in terms of going to school for that, per se. But I've had an interest since I was in high school in personal development, Maggie, and because of that, led me to read a lot of books and listen to a lot of different speakers, attend different seminars, and really apply the different techniques that I learned into my own life to help me achieve success each and every year.
So who have been some of your favorite speakers so far that you've attended or maybe seen on TV or whatnot?
Well, two more recent speakers that I've seen is, well, number one, who really got me started in terms of finance and thinking from a different perspective is a gentleman by the name of Robert Kiyosaki. He's a best-selling author. He wrote the novel, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people have heard of this. He has his own TV show now. And he really helped me get away from the thinking of going to school and working for someone for the rest of my life, but rather thinking of how to get my money working for me as well as starting up an own business as well. Mm-hmm. So that's the first one. Another one I want to mention is a gentleman by the name of Blair Singer. He's also affiliated with the Rich Dad Group. He's the sales advisor, and he's a really great motivational speaker and coach as well. So he taught me a lot in terms of selling techniques and communication skills.
Okay. So why don't you give us some tips and pointers of how to communicate properly or how you would present yourself, whether in a business meeting or any kind of situation?
Well, really, in terms of communication, we're born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. So the first key is actually listening skills. You have to have strong listening skills and really understand what the other person is trying to convey, what their needs are, and what are they trying to achieve, rather than providing them with a plan that may not work for them because you're not listening to them. And I find that another way to improve communication is simply just practicing your speaking skills. So one great organization for that is, have you heard of an organization, Maggie, called Toastmasters International?
I've heard of it, but haven't attended it.
What they do is actually they have operations in over 90 countries around the world, and it's just an environment, a very supportive environment, allows that people, just regular people, you and I, or business people, to just get together and practice communication skills. Mm-hmm. And the great thing about this organization is that it gives you a booklet when you start off. Well, you have 10 speeches. You start off beginning from easy speeches, to more progressively more advanced speeches. First speech is called your icebreaker, which is talking about yourself, 5 minutes about yourself. Gradually, they have different speeches such as storytelling, using different tonality of the voice, as well as using hand gestures and presentation material. And another great thing about Toastmasters is that not only are you able to practice your speaking, but even if you don't have a scheduled speech on that day, you can practice other skills such as evaluating speakers. So you get to learn how to evaluate other people's speeches, as well as every session we have abundance of different roles, such as a quiz master, which would take down notes during the session and ask questions at the end to test people's listening skills. There's also someone called a joke master, lights up the atmosphere by talking a joke in the beginning. There's a timer that times people's speeches. There's also a grammarian, who has a job of counting how many ums and people speak during their speech. So that's you really get to get involved in that in all aspects. So even if you don't have a speech, you get to practice.
Do they also tape you when you're speaking so you can kind of review your mistakes or whatnot?
From most of the time they do not. It's just that you get feedback right away from the people who will be evaluating you, and also everyone else who are listening into your presentation get to fill a little comment card where you can take home and read as well. And the great thing is every session we usually have around 3 speeches per session, so afterwards we nominate the best speaker. So right away you get recognized.
So have you been nominated as the best speaker yet?
I have actually got nominated twice.
Excellent.
Once was for Thinking on My Feet. They have a session called Table Topics. And what table topic is, you have 1 minute to talk about a surprise topic. So they'll give you a surprise topic, say you're for the environment. What would you argue? So yeah, 1 minute to talk about that. So I won one time with that, another with my very first speech was just talking about myself. So
good stuff. So how long is the Toastmaster program, and also is it a free program for people who want to participate?
It's not a free program, but it's the cost is very minimal, Maggie. It's you can find the club anywhere in Toronto, across the GTA and also Canada. Most big companies would have a Toastmaster club during the lunch hour, and the fee is under $200. And it's prorated in that if you join later in the year, you pay less. So you're not paying for the full year if half of the year is over already. So it's a great organization for you to just get some more practice in, because that's what it's all about. Just communication is getting practice, not only helping you develop your communication, but also develop your confidence as well.
Do you think that before you did the Toastmasters program, were you more quiet and shy and it helped you, or did you find it just kind of helped you hone in on your skills that you've already had?
I find that for me, communication was a big challenge, because ever since I was a little kid, I was a very shy individual, a true introvert. So what happened is really not until high school that I really broke out, and that I used to be really afraid of giving presentations in school, and I finally got to a point where I decided to just make a decision and change my life in terms of really focus on communicating and improving my communication skills. So what I did was simply watch others and see what they did right. I read books on the subject, I attended different seminars, and I also used the technique of visualization, which basically run through your speech inside your head and at home, so your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're making up in your head. So if you practice, it seems like you've already done it thousands of times. So for me, it definitely, Toastmasters helped me bring it up a notch as well, but definitely I wasn't a perfect communicator to begin with to start with.
Do you find with Toastmasters it also helps you socially, not just within business environment?
Absolutely, because we have a wide range of people who are in our Toastmaster Club. The one that I'm associated with is in Markham on Brimley and 14th. It's called the Markham Sweet Talkers Toastmasters Club, actually, and it's actually located in the YMCA Career Business Office. And we have meetings every Thursday evenings at 6 o'clock to 7:45 or so. Okay. So within that club, you have people from all walks of life, people who are new immigrants, people who've been around for years in the club alone, and people who are even professional-wise. If you want to network, we have people who work in a wide range of fields. Want to get some advice if you wanted to become a teacher, for example, you can ask someone for advice who's working in that area. So it's really good for growing as an individual, not just communicating skills.
So other than within the financial industry, how would you help yourself grow within your money, like if you just got out of school?
Well, one thing that, let me just slide a little tool that I use. I don't know if the camera could focus in on. One thing that I use is something called the sliding calculator, which I sold for the more novice investors. And what this is down here is basically 4 keys to financial independence here. So the number 1 key here, Maggie, is called discipline to save money. So let me ask you a question, Maggie. How many people you know who they just get a new raise, but right away they go and spend that money and they go buy a big screen TV, or if they get a promotion, they go and buy a brand new car. So a lot of people do that. So my question is, how can you become financially independent if you spend more than what you make? It's impossible. You can't. So even if you do save money, you can save $200 a month, Meg. Where do most people save their money?
In the bank.
That's right. Now, do the banks give you...
They put it in a little tin underneath their bed.
And that's even worse than the bank then. But do most people save their money? You're absolutely right, in the bank. Now, do the banks give you 12% return?
No, they don't.
If you're lucky, you'll get 3.5 at some of the high interest savings accounts.
Yep.
So now when you give your money to the bank, say $200 you can save a month, do the banks just leave it in a vault, or do they do something with that money?
They use it for other things.
Absolutely. They use it to make money for
Yes.
themselves. So we all have credit cards, right? So what's the average interest rate on the credit card?
Thinking, what, 19%?
19%.
Something like that.
So the banks are taking you $200 and they're making 19%. So this to illustrate, why don't we make it more conservative? Let's say 12%. So how this calculator works is, I'll slide it $200 a month if you save it at, say, 4%, right, at the bank.
Yeah.
At the end of 35 years, you'll be getting $182,000. Now, that's not a lot of money after 35 years. But what the bank does is they turn around, they use stuff like mortgages and credit cards, and they make, just say on average, 12% of your money. So I'll just flip this around. To save $200 at 12% is how much now? It's up to $1 million after 35 years. Isn't that incredible? And what they're giving you back, the 4%, 182, they just made around $800,000 of profit on you
Right.
for 35 years. So that talks to the second point here is having a higher rate of return, learning how to get that higher rate of return. The third important key that I tell people is taxes. Now, we all live in Canada. We pay our share of taxes.
Yes.
If you work, you pay taxes. You spend your money, you pay taxes when you shop. You invest your money, you pay tax. And also when you pass away, the government takes some taxes away from you. So it's very important to save taxes. So just use the same scenario. If I can show you how to get 12%, again, $1 million in 35 years, you don't keep the $1 million. What you keep is, say your tax rate is 30%, so what you keep is your return, rather than 12%, say your return is 8% after tax. So return over here, the 8% drops down to $428. So you just lost $600,000 to taxes. Now, isn't that a little bit, would you think is a little bit more important now to learn about taxes?
Yes, it is.
Now, would you know in Canada, what are the 3 things that you don't get taxed on, Maggie?
I'm not sure. Food? No.
Well, actually,
Baby clothes?
number 1 thing is lottery. You don't get taxed when you lottery winnings in Canada. Number 2 is your principal residence, your home that you're living in. And number 3, did you know that investments that you put inside the insurance policy is tax-free as well? So that's something that a lot of people don't know about, but it's an important strategy that you can utilize for saving up for, as an alternative to saving in your RSP for retirement. So then the last point, just to briefly mention here, it says money takes time to grow. So a lot of the best advice I can give people is to take some action and really get started, because the more years you have ahead of you, the easier it is for your, the more power of compounding kicks in, and then easier for you to be able to retire in with the financial resources and live the lifestyle that you desire.
Cool. Okay, let's take a really quick commercial break. And well, maybe not. Let's keep talking. So yeah, if I want to retire early, what do I gotta do?
Well, really, usually what I do is I really sit down with the individual and find out what are their goals, and what is their situation right now. Just like give you an example, say if you're seeing a doctor, right? The doctor would not prescribe you type of medication without first finding out a little bit about yourself, right? So that's the same background in terms of finances. We want to be able to, first of all, find out what your current situation is and what are your financial goals and objectives, so that we can help you, teach you the concepts so that you understand. And I think I want to emphasize teaching, because a lot of the financial institutions out there emphasize more on just selling you a particular product, but without giving you knowledge. Because Maggie, I'm sure that a lot of people, Canadians, have RSPs, but a lot of people do not know what they have inside their RSP. They don't know really how it works. All they know is they contribute and they get a tax deduction out of that. So the main thing for me, really I take a personal approach, but overall, just to give it more generality, you can't lose by starting early and taking your money out of the GICs and putting it into other types of investment, even such as mutual funds in the stock markets, real estate, stuff like that, where you know that you're going to get a higher rate of return than what the bank is offering you.
So why don't you talk a little more about investments? Any tips or things?
I think one thing that maybe I can mention is a lot of people, because the government advertises RSPs, so a lot of people think that it's the best thing, but really you have to look at the stage in your life and what your objective is. Because an RSP is good in that a lot of people like it because they give you a tax deduction. But a lot of people don't realize, or they don't really think about, is what happens when you take out that money.
Yeah.
So when you take out the money, they tax you as if you got a part-time job or you got a second job. The government basically taxes you at your tax bracket as if you were working. So that basically means a lot of money that's going out of people's pockets at a time where they really need it the most. So one thing I would recommend is, if you're saving up for your house, to buy a house, definitely go put in an RSP, because you can take out $20,000 loan from your RSP to purchase your first home. Each spouse can do that. So total, if you have two people purchasing together, then you have $40,000. So in that respect, yes, it's a good way, but is it the best way to retire? Then no, because I would tend to think of going through life as when you get out of school, you typically have a lot of, you don't have too many responsibilities, you don't have a family yet, and you don't have a mortgage typically, but what you do not have as well is money. So when you're young, you want to work and save up money for your retirement. But when you retire, you have less and less responsibilities. Then that's the time where it's very important, because you're not going to be having that income, to really have your investments work for you. So what I recommend people is to find out a little bit more about alternatives besides an RSP for retirement savings. And one thing that I recommend is putting it into an insurance policy, because of the tax deferred growth, and also there's strategies that you can utilize for retirement where you don't really have to take out your money from the insurance policy and live off other people's money as well. And that's something more technical that I won't get into now, but it's there's lots of strategies out there, but just to have people to be careful not to just focus too much on the RSPs.
So who are your typical clients? Because you did say you own your own business and you do this kind of on your own.
Right. So actually my clients range from various age group. Typically there are people who are either in university or working in their early careers. I do have people who are a little bit older, working for around 10-20 years as well. So I have a very mixed bag of clients, but my objective is really to teach and emphasize to them how money works so that I'll give them autonomy to help them make their own decisions. So when they do make a decision, they understand that it's their decision and it's something that they understand. And I think that's what's lacking in the financial service industry right now is a lot of people do not understand what they have.
Do you do this full time?
I do this on a part-time basis. I work full-time as a financial analyst for a large IT company right now in Markham. And
do you enjoy your job?
I like it because basically there's pros and cons. When you work in a career, there's things that you can learn within a job that you cannot learn in your own business. For example, dealing with a variety of different people in terms of dealing with politics in the workplace. If you have your own business, you don't really experience stuff like that. And with the corporate environment, there's a lot of different types of challenges and training. So my point of view is there's still a lot of challenges and items to be learned in the corporate world that allows me to really want to stick into it. But also on the side, have a side business, because really the way I look at it is more, I want to create more options for myself. So I always like to give the example that I heard from a speaker that everyone needs a spare tire. So no matter what car you drive, whether you drive a BMW, Mercedes, a Honda, doesn't matter. Everyone needs a spare tire. So this is just my spare tire for the moment. So just in case something happens, I always have something to fall back on. So it's really increasing flexibility and managing risk for myself and my family.
So what are your future goals?
One thing I want to do is explore different types of business opportunities. And actually, coming up in July, I'm involved with an event called Toronto Night Market. And my girlfriend, myself, and also a couple of individuals, friends, are getting together. We have our own food booth that we're going to be selling treats, desserts, and also drinks. So I encourage everyone to come out. It's on the Friday the 6th, July the 6th and 7th. It's at Metro Square, and there's going to be shows and performances. There's going to be a lot of people and a lot of excitement, a lot of different foods to sample as well. So, Maggie, I'm a very ambitious person, so I like to try different things. So I just figure, that's a great event to really develop some further skills for myself, and also see whether or not that food business is something that I would like to pursue long term.
So are you thinking of opening your own restaurant at some point, or?
Not at this moment right now. I really have to get started just to see if it's right for me. Yeah. If we hit it off, maybe we could do something like a franchise, do something like that. So that would be, I think, in my mind, a blast. So it's still lots to see with that. So no promises now.
So other than personal development and finance, what else do you do? Do you have any other hobbies?
Well, one thing I love to do is go watch musicals and concerts.
Yeah.
In terms of art, I just like the singing and the performances. Another thing I like to do is I like to play volleyball, beach volleyball. And actually for me, trying different things now, I've tried some yoga classes at the YMCA that I'm with. I've actually tried a Tai Chi class, and I was the youngest person there actually, so that was a blast as well. So in terms of just getting together with friends and family, besides playing sports, just going out for a drink and understanding what their situation is like. Because a lot of people I talked to recently, they really in a state of confusion because they graduate from school but they don't really know what they want to do. So to me, that's very common because I went through that. I think one of the reasons is that throughout your childhood up until later in your age, you're always told what to do. Go to school, get good grades, get a job. But once you get a job, what's next, right? So a lot of people, that's where they get stuck, and that's where they really need to sit down and get something to help them with their goal setting.
Thank you. So do you have any last words, or if someone wanted to contact you about investments or personal development, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me, and just over the air, I'll just leave my cell phone number. It's 416-820-9013. And I want to mention that I'm involved in actually a barbecue this Saturday. It's going to be a free barbecue. So if people are interested in finding out more information about that, you can give me a call, 416-820-9013. If you have a question on goal setting or also learn a little bit about finance as well. So thank you.
Thank you, David. So this is your host, Maggie Ng of Creative Inspirations. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Good night.
Actually, that was faster than I thought.